Yeah, I've been tracking those EFPs for 4 or 5 years now. The amount of contracts off the COMEX, I haven't added it up recently. It's in a couple million, 3 million.
And as you've just raised a couple of really very true things. In fact, tomorrow, which is Friday, and of course we're recording this before ahead of time because you also follow mine. But essentially, I spilt the beans on a client who, very large client, who went to GLD on when the price on the 17th, I think it was. Anyway, it was when we hit the lows. That day we hit the lows. I think it was the 27th. And whatever it was 1705. This is what's burned in my mind. The spot price was 1705.50, 30, 1705.30. So he went to redeem his a share basket of 100,000 shares
Right.
at
Good
that
luck.
price and was told, no, we need to cash settle you on that. He said, no, I
Yeah,
want
hit
the
the road,
physical.
Jack.
Right. So we actually spilt the beans on that. So what we did was say, okay, take the cash, and we EFP'd it. And he immediately took delivery because
Nice.
the spot market in the UK is now Basel III compliant. So the minute that it exits this non-compliant GLD, which doesn't have to be Basel III compliant, clearly, and then it comes out, EFP'd out, and that brings me to the subject of EFPs. 50 tons, 53 tons on the 18th went out. How many tons have exited this month in gold? How many tons in silver? You track this.
Yeah, I've been tracking those EFPs for 4 or 5 years now. The amount of contracts off the COMEX, I haven't added it up recently. It's in a couple million, 3 million in the last four. I mean, think of how many, 3 million is 300 million ounces? I mean, from where? I mean, seriously, I mean, there's how many people are accepting warrants, and that sort of thing. Again, this is just all part of, the last thing, my old line is, Andy, and I know I've said this to you often, you don't want to go around predicting the end of the world because you're only going to be right once. And I remember when I first got into this back in about 2010, and I started reading about the COMEX and, the COMEX is going to collapse. And I kind of played along for a little while. Then I realized, they can keep these plates spinning until there's just going to be finally a moment when it breaks. And so you can't take all this data and go, okay, so therefore I'm going to buy some October calls because, man, it's really going to happen in the next couple of weeks. That's foolish. What you do, though, is you recognize what it is and what is going on, whether it's macroeconomically and all that, and everything, how that's going to drive price, or just the scam of the fraud of the pricing scheme. And you go, okay, I'll kind of use that to my advantage and I'll accumulate over time. It's like the dude, Michael Burry, right? In The Big Short.
Yeah.
Remember we always said, Andy, when they make a movie about all this crap, we were going to get like George Clooney to play me, and then we were going to get like George Burns to play you. He's dead. But anyway, when they make a movie about all this stuff, it's a very similar situation. I mean, all of us in the precious metals, just like those dudes back in 2006 and 7, looked at an unsustainable situation and said, what do we miss? Why doesn't everybody see this? Well, that's because everybody's distracted by the little flashing lights, and the blinkers over here and the easy cash and 20% yield on some altcoin scam, all that kind of stuff. Everybody's distracted while we recognize the math. We know that this is unsustainable and we just wait. And we're right. You just have to again, it'll come to us just like it came to Burry and all those other dudes in that movie. It'll come to us too. And maybe George Clooney is now too old to play me. I might have to get somebody else. Anyway.
But you've just nailed it. I mean, what we're saying is what's right about everything that we're saying and Alison McLeod saying, what we're all saying here is it's about educating people to remember it's about physical. And if you buy the physical, it doesn't matter what happens to the price. You're not going to sell that physical. And if you're a trader and you're getting sucked into the COMEX, you better watch your margin very, very closely because the bigger it is, the more they'll target it. They will know where your positions are. As you say, you put enough options positions in place. That is that's going to get rinsed. One way or the other, it'll get rinsed. Maybe 3 o'clock in the morning, it'll get rinsed. So, but every single time that you, I know, have said, get physical, get physical, get physical, you've been right.
Right.
Of course. It doesn't matter what the price is.
It's the only option. And you've got to do it. And that's, again, what there are kinesis and other ways you can get close to spot. There's no sense paying $40 for a silver eagle, which I think there's some out there just because there aren't any silver eagles, which tells you another sign that should tell you something.
Really?
You just got to get your hands on it. And again, it is your protection. It's your lifeboat. You can fiddle around. I mean, that's all part of, what I do at my site, we monitor price every day for anybody that wants to try to trade. And God knows every once in a while I'll wander into the casino with a call or something if I think the timing is right. And believe me, I don't bat 1,000. I still own a $21 September silver call that I bought a month ago that now has a chance, at least. But I didn't see July coming the way it did. So we can still talk about that. But again, what I've turned my focus to over the years is more of this macro stuff, because the day-to-day stuff will just absolutely, it'll make you depressed. It'll make you frustrated. It'll make you turn away from the exact stuff, gold and silver, that you've got to have. You've got to have physical metal. And if you're trying to trade it, you'll just throw up your hands and say, oh, yeah, and walk off and give up. And that's the last thing I want people to do. So we talk a lot more about just the macro and the preparation for what's coming. And that's what people need to understand. This is just, it's just been brutal these last 100 days. But it's all in preparation for what's coming next. And I think, again, with this short covering rally that's begun, that's just the little spark we needed to turn things and get things going higher again.
Hey, it's psyops, isn't it? It's the psychological operations, and if you can run the casino, then fine. You can definitely trick enough people to take those chips and play them, and 95% of the time the house will win, and 5% just enough to keep you going. The speculators, and that's how casinos win, right? So. But you can have fun in a casino, but you're certainly not going to have fun playing in their little sandpit, because it is so siloed. And again, we know that all US citizens, I had to get rid of all my US citizens in 2013 because they were no longer allowed to trade the over-the-counter markets, i.e. the cash-settled markets, had to be siloed into this casino where the windows, the doors are shut, the windows are shut, the oxygen's there. And hey, you don't have to know what's going on in Russia. You don't have to know if there's any supply demand. You can chase that little dot down to zero. It's called silver, but you can chase it to zero. By the way, we'll take the other side.
At least in Vegas, you can get loaded while you're doing it, and it eases some of the sting. This is just pull your hair out stuff. But, even that said, I suppose, for the casino gamblers, they'll come rushing in as silver moves back into the 20s and gets above the 50-day moving average, and then, gets above the 200-day moving average, and that's fine. I mean, that derivative, the future contract, is what drives the price. So as those hedge funds go from 14,000 net short to 40,000 net long in the weeks and months ahead, you can probably play along with them if you want. But the key to ending the scheme and finding what the true price is physical delivery. Get the metal out of the system into a place like Kinesis or into your own vault at the bottom of a lake, whatever it is. Take it away from them. Every ounce that you take out of the system takes away maybe their ability to leverage 50 ounces against it. So buy the physical, take advantage of the sale price, understand that the math is the math, and eventually, though it takes, it's taken a lot longer maybe than we thought it would be, none of that has changed, and things are still moving in our direction. In fact, maybe probably moving faster than they ever have.